Get this powered up. All right, we are now live, going with you guys to discuss Facebook advertising. Let me see really quick. I think there is a setting here I'm going to change. I don't know. It may be backwards, may not be. I'm not 100% sure. All right, today, so we're going to discuss a couple of things that have happened over the last week. Again, to start out, my name is Brian Meert, CEO of AdvertiseMint. If you guys have questions or need help with your Facebook advertising, we're an agency, that's all we do. So today I want to talk about a couple of things. The first one is how Facebook ads are tracking you. So this is a question I get a lot, or people are always amazed when they find out how it works. So there's a couple of things. If you want to be able to know how Facebook is tracking you or what data they have on you as a Facebook user, there's two ways that you can be able to see this. The first one is to go to facebook.com/ads, ADS/preferences/edit. If you're on a desktop computer, you can type that in, that URL. Again, that's facebook.com/ads/preferences/edit. And that will bring up all the fields that they have on you. The other way to be able to view that from a mobile device is when you see an ad that shows up, there's a little downward arrow that appears next to the ad. You can select that, and then you select, why am I seeing this? And you can select ad preferences. So what this will do is this brings up all the data or the classifications that Facebook has determined over the life, the amount of time that you've used the Facebook platform, to be able to show those ads to, or they would show ads to you. So if you're liking on a lot of soccer posts or soccer companies, things like that, they would have probably soccer listed there for you. Now, what's fun is that a lot of times you'll see some things that are right on point where you're like, oh man, this is exactly who I am. Like, I do like all these things. And you may also find a couple of other either companies or names or things in there that may not necessarily make sense to you. If you find those, you can always turn them on or off, so that way you would no longer be shown ads for those types of preferences. But to some extent, this helps you understand a little bit more about why you're seeing the ads that you do see on Facebook. And Facebook wants to be transparent around why you are receiving the ads that you do. So for those of you that, if you want to explore more, it's definitely a fun exercise to do, to be able to go and check out what are the options of how Facebook has ad targeting for you, specifically the ads that you'll be shown on Facebook. Another announcement I want to be able to talk about is Facebook Workplace. So, one of the elements that Facebook has struggled with in terms of advertising is B2B targeting, meaning, being able to target people based on their jobs or their criterias or their job titles or where they work at, the companies they work at. Facebook has some data, but unless people write that into their profile when they're signing up, Facebook doesn't have that data that they can be able to use. So to be able to grow that, they launched what is Facebook Workplace, which is very much kind of like a Slack / social network specifically for people that work at companies or at jobs, where the entire organization can be able to collaborate from this. Facebook also recently allowed you to post job openings, or if you're looking for people to hire directly through Facebook. So this is, I think, an attempt of them to try to be able to get more data based on the people who are in B2B type marketing segments, to create tools that are valuable for them to use. And as they use it, they fill out maybe their job title, where they work, and Facebook now has all that data that they can be able to leverage for advertising. So over F8, they did a couple of announcements towards Facebook Workplace and some of the new updates that were going to be able to come. They have a free version that you can use. They also have a paid version where you pay per user to be able to access Facebook Workplace. You can get your entire company on it, and everyone is communicating back and forth. Some of the new things that they're going to be integrating soon are polls. where now you can be able to do polls internally at the company. Hey, you know, what should we do for our company event? And everyone can be able to vote on what they want to do. Another thing that you can do is now Workplace Live, where they're integrating live directly into Workplace. So that way, if you've got a company that's spread out in different locations, everyone can be able to view live training or live events specific to their whatever it is they're looking to learn about, which is great because now you don't necessarily need to be in the same location for all of your employees to be able to learn and get the latest information from the expert at your company. Other options that they have is they're now introducing groups where you can be able to subdivide and kind of implement Facebook groups onto a group level where, inside of your company, you can be able to have, marketing groups, accounting groups, HR groups, they're all different ones where communication can happen within those. Docs and notes, these are where you can upload and format documents and notes directly onto the Facebook Workplace and be able to allow it to store there and live there. Other things, auto translate, which is something that they're working on, where it has the ability to translate different languages. If you have international people, that there's some sort of tools there that would allow you to communicate quicker. And finally, video calling, where you can be able to make video calls directly from Facebook Workplace, to other users that are using Facebook Workplace. So again, some really cool new features that are coming out. If you haven't tried it, it's worth checking out. You just Google Facebook Workplace and jump on there from there. Another thing I wanted to touch on, this comes from a blog article that we have on our blog. You can check it out at advertisement.com/blog. But a lot of times we're approached by different companies and they're like, hey, we have this great idea or this great thing we want to do. Can you help us get us on Facebook? We run through these series of things that Facebook blocks. These are things that 8 things that you cannot advertise on Facebook. And so a lot of times we have to start with them and say, do you fall under one of these categories? And we do get contacted by people who fall under these quite frequently. And when that happens, then we can no longer, we have to tell them, it's not something that you can move forward with the Facebook platform. At least there are other options that you can look at, but they won't necessarily be able to move forward. So a couple of these are, I want to just touch on really quickly, tobacco products. Any sort of tobacco products, Facebook has put the gauntlet down and said no, you cannot run these at all. Weapons is another thing that you cannot be able to advertise on Facebook. Derogatory, personal, political, or religious content. So if you're trying to promote content that is, necessarily harmful or trying to just be derogatory, going against someone, trying to slander someone, Facebook will not allow that, and they may block your account from that. This is interesting. James Bond wouldn't be able to advertise on Facebook, but spy cams and surveillance equipment, those are things that he would not be able to do. Those aren't allowed. Counterfeit goods. A lot of fashion companies that have the big brands behind them. There's a lot of counterfeit people that try to knock off a product or a service and be able to put those on. Those would not necessarily be allowed on Facebook. Any sort of fake documents or something that is what would be copyright claims or infringements or things like that will violate Facebook's terms. Any sort of pornography or adult content is not allowed. And then finally, penny auctions, which are those sites where you go and it's like, hey, win a new 65-inch TV. You just bid a penny, and the next guy bids 2 pennies, the next guy bids 3 pennies. What happens is all those pennies are actually counting up. Every time you bid, they take that money, and then the winner may only pay, $300 for it, but all the other people that bid up paid money and got nothing out of it in trying to win that auction. So to some extent, there's that's something that Facebook doesn't allow at all. So let me know if you've run into anything else that Facebook blocks or doesn't allow, but those are the 8 big categories that we've seen. Also, what I want to do is, we had a couple questions that were left over from our last week's post that I grabbed and wanted to be able to address really quick. So I'll handle those. If you guys have any more questions or anything else that you want to know about Facebook advertising, go ahead and upload them now or leave a comment, and I'll try to address them as we're going through, and then we'll kind of head on from there and finish this out. So the first question I got was from Sandra, and she asked, how do I go live from my business page? So this is actually a great question. Right now we're going live from mobile phones. So if you have a mobile phone, you have the ability to download an app called Pages by Facebook. And once you do this, you can put in your personal fan page or any of the fan pages that you work with. And there's an option there for how to be able to go live directly from a fan page. Sometimes there's been some ability to do it from a desktop app, but from our experience, not everyone has that ability yet. And I think they're still rolling it out. So I would think at some level, everyone will be able to go live. I think you can go live from your personal page or from your personal account on a desktop, but when it comes to a fan page, I'm not sure that option is there for all of them yet. So anyway, that's how we do it. So now you know. I got another question from Nikki. How can I submit a manual review for an ad? So this is where if you get an ad that's flagged or for some reason it isn't going through, whenever you upload an ad, it will be, it's reviewed by an algorithm, and sometimes if it's pinged or whatever, they'll actually send it out to a human to review it as well. Sometimes it just blocks it and it says, hey, there's no option for you to move forward with this ad. It's not allowed. So if that happens, you've got a couple of options. The one that I usually recommend is go to facebook.com/business/resources. And on there you have the ability to submit an email directly to Facebook in regards to whatever it is that you want to have updated or questioned or reviewed. My advice to you is if you are doing that or using that link, you want to be able to be very clear about your ad account ID, your account number, any screenshots you want to upload where they can see exactly what the ad is looking like. You want to include the landing pages where the people are going to. I usually like to put more information than I generally think necessary into their contact form, so that way people are able to the Facebook team can be able to solve your problem from the first time without necessarily coming back and asking you a lot of questions. But you'll generally get a response back when you use that link within 1 to 3 days is what I see, kind of a response come back or for problems to get resolved. But that's an option for you to be able to move that forward. Okay, at this time, let me see if there's any other questions that have come through. Let me take a look. Okay, so we've got another one that says, what if I accidentally advertise products that are banned by Facebook? Let's say tobacco, what will happen? Will my ad be disapproved? Will my account get blocked? So, as you start to run ads, again, what happens is Facebook is scanning with their algorithm for, key terms, things like cigarettes, things like vaping. They're looking for any types of those words that may be both on the ad itself or somewhere that would be, I'm trying to think, on the landing page, if you're using a landing page or anything like that. So that's what they're looking for initially. So it's actually technically possible that you probably could maybe squeeze one of these through and have it start running for a little bit. Eventually, if people start to mark your ad as, hey, this is against policies, or I don't want to see this type of ad, as there start to be a couple of those that come through from, your ad showing, your ad may then go back for a manual review. And if that happens, that's where they would see, hey, this is a tobacco product, no. And then it gets disapproved at that point, and your account could get shut down if Facebook decides to. Again, if you're going after one of these big elements, it's most likely that Facebook will shut down your account simply because these are not allowed on the platform. So, you may be able to squeeze them through, but it would most likely not make it very far. Let me see if there's anything else. That's a great question. Awesome. Where would be first-time companies start when it comes to advertising on Facebook and Instagram? By Richard. Thank you so much. Here's kind of my thoughts. When someone's starting on Facebook, what you want to do is probably the easiest thing to do is just a boosted post, which gives you kind of some of the basic ability to reach your fans. It allows you to reach some of the other people based on targeting or some custom audiences if you've built any. But to some extent, it allows you to put a post up, write something new, put some money behind it, and start to be able to get results from that. So that's probably the easiest way to be able to start. The downside with a boosted post is you don't have the full functionality of a lot of the objectives that you get through Ads Manager or Power Editor, where you can now go after, I want a conversion or I want a click. Boosted posts are by default page engagement. So they're going to try to find you people that are clicking and liking and sharing and commenting a lot and using emojis and reactions. So with a boosted post, a lot of times you can get a lot of movement, but not necessarily a lot of action in terms of what you need to have happen from Facebook ads. So, at some level, if you're doing nothing and you're like, man, I want to start testing the waters, I want to get moving forward, I would do boosted post, and I would generally include a link or a shortened link, like a bit.ly link, inside of the post somewhere so that people could click to where I want them to go. And then at some level, when you want to start focusing more on, I need Facebook users to do this specific task, then you would want to get into Ads Manager and start creating your ads from there, which is much more complicated, but that's definitely where we do 90% of our managing of campaigns is directly from the Facebook Ads Manager or Power Editor. So that's a great question. And yeah, just you got to take that first step, Richard. Get out there and give it a whirl. Put a little bit of money on the table. Start watching the results, watching what comes back in, and keep running from there. Great question. Let's see what else. We got another one. What do I do if my account gets shut down? Okay, so this is we actually get this question quite a lot as well. It's not, there isn't necessarily one solid answer. The response from Facebook is generally, hey, it's too bad. There's nothing we can do. They have so many advertisers now that if someone breaks a policy, they just kick them out the door and say goodbye. And if those people try to create another account, a lot of times the ad accounts are linked or the credit cards are linked. So that means the new account, the minute they start running, that one will get shut down as well. So it becomes very difficult for people to try to circumvent what's happening on, with an account getting shut down. As an agency, we have direct access to Facebook. So we have people that we work with there in different departments. And one of them is, accounts that get shut down. So a lot of times if someone comes to us and they, we hear what they're doing, as long as they're, not necessarily doing anything that's in violation of Facebook's policy, or maybe they made a mistake in the past, we can be able to go and have that discussion with Facebook and say, hey, here's a client that we think should be allowed back on. Here's what happened in the past. When we work with them, we will make sure that, we don't go into the gray area with them, that they may get blocked again in the future, and then go from there. So that's kind of the process that we found works for us. And we've been able to get most of the accounts that come to us back up and running again, as opposed to creating secondary or third accounts. Our approach is generally to get the original accounts back up and running again, because they have all the original data, the same pixel. You're not needing to switch out pixels. So it makes it more efficient to be able to run ads like that. But yeah, a couple of good questions. Thanks guys so much. We go live every Tuesday and every Friday. If you have questions about Facebook advertising or running your own ads or what you want to know, make sure to upload them while we're live, and I'll answer them on the spot to the best of my knowledge. Cool. Well, have a great day, and we will see you guys later.